Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Olá Bom Dia ALEGRIA, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, the live stream, the podcast, and the Portugal Club, where we will go for, my goodness, these come and go so quickly. In the classroom of the Portugal Club, let's go there now. There's a few things going on over there that I'd like to bring your attention to, not least International Port Wine Day, which we're celebrating here in Portugal. I think I might join that celebration with a little snifter this morning, as is traditional, on the way to work. Well, I'm already at work, but many Portuguese people, actually, that's a bit of an exaggeration. Some Portuguese people on the way to work will be having a little cheirinho of some sort, and it seems only right on International Port Day that I join them today. So let's have a look over at the Portugal Club. How are you this morning? Tudo bem? Do let me know how you're doing in the chat. Yes, International Port Wine Day. Actually, if I go to the calendar here, you can see, if I put it into this view, which Mrs. M taught me about over at school. Yeah, International Port Wine Day. Today's show, Jeremy C and Heather B, sounding like a new ABBA coming out of Portugal. Barak tomorrow. And we've got some special guests, a very quick phone in from the slopes. I think maybe a really good way of referring to this would be to say that we're here at the Good Morning Portugal show. We've got a little bit of advanced news on the new bond. We have some news for you. There's been quite a lot of controversy, hasn't there, about the selection of the new James Bond. I think we might be able to help with this if I bring it onto your screen now. Yeah, who's going to be the next Bond? I think we've got a little bit of help for you on that. If I bring this is hot off the press, so just winging its way into the screen now. There are two finalists, it would seem, in the contest to find the new Bond, and I've got a picture of them now. They have been pictured skiing on the Alps, and an important part of the job description of James Bond, of course, is that you can ski. And here they are. You might know them. I can't give too much away at the moment, but you'll be able to speak to them yourself, quiz them tomorrow when they phone in. From the European ski slopes, a secret location, obviously, because we don't want the paparazzi flying straight over there by exposing their location. Good morning to you then. Look, the Portugal Club is there with Jeremy C, Heather B joining us soon, an International Port Wine Day that we're celebrating. And we will go to the classroom for today's Portugal Essential. That's what I was talking about, wasn't I? Number 4 today then, the Chave Móvel Digital, because we were talking about that. That was one way that was helpful in obtaining the NIS. And no sooner had I announced that we talked about the NIS and how to get it. There were people saying, yep, despite AIMA wanting this, my local social security office wouldn't give me one of those. So it remains a bit of a challenge for some people. Right, there are a few other things I'd like to bring to your attention today. Although I realize now I haven't saved them. Oh dear. Okay, let me go. Then we'll come back to the Chave Móvel Digital. Let me go to your comments this morning. Morning to you, Gemini and Matty, who are in so far. Do say hi if you will. Bom dia alegria a todos e feliz terça-feira. It looks as well. We have been saying here on the Good Morning Portugal show that there seems to be a storm a week. Well, no sooner have we exposed that. It seems there are now 2. It's been upgraded, or it's escalated to 2 storms a week, and it's not James, it's something else. It's another J, and also then Chandra. Now I don't know if each meteorological office gives a different name in its sort of jurisdiction, but there seems to be a J and a C currently in operation at the moment. So 2 storms possibly overlapping, like some great big stormy Venn diagram. I also found out about the Turkic states yesterday. This was watching a bit of the Davos fringe events on Euronews. Do you know what the Turkic states are? European neighbours, I guess. So yeah, if you've never heard of the Turkic states, which I hadn't, I'll tell you who they are as well this morning. Congratulations to Superboc as well, who have won an award. And more talk about red cabbage. I didn't think I'd have enough material about red cabbage to be talking about that vegetable for 2 weeks running. and a little bit of marvelous memery this morning. Where is everyone this morning? It's very quiet here this morning. I might have a bit of a Billy No Mates this morning, but do say hi if you can. And especially those people who watch later thinking, oh, I'll watch it later. I'm not part of this. You are part of it. Say hi if you're watching on the replay, and then I'll carry forward your greetings to tomorrow morning, where we're joined by Barak and the two Bonds. Good morning to you. Mel's here now. How is it where you are, Mel? There's an unbelievable amount of rain coming out of the sky, is there not? It's quite extraordinary at the moment. It really is. And a strange start to the show today. I was listening to a British radio station that I sometimes listen to in the morning, and they did their 8 o'clock news, I think, at 3 minutes to 8, which really threw me. That's normally my signal. Not only avoid the gloom and doom of British news and start my own show here, but I could see on the no, cat alert! Yikes! Go away! Go on, off you go. That guy is bad news. Go on, go somewhere else. You, yes, I could see that it was time to start my show, or so I thought, but it was actually still 3 minutes to 8, so I had to endure the British news. He's likely, this cat, to jump up on the other side of the desk now, having been spurned, and he might start rocking the camera. If I shout out help, maybe help, cat attack. Maybe somebody will rattle the cat food downstairs and lure this big beast. He's huge. He's one of those really heavy cats. Jumps on you, think, oh my god, what has he been eating? Well, hopefully something soon. So we'll leave the studio here. Yeah, strange. Yes, I think the British radio station went to the news, which is such a weird thing, isn't it? News on the hour, depressing information on the hour, every hour. Actually, I think they do it on the quarter hour, but that threw me this morning. Yeah, hi Mel, how you doing? Oh, John, how are you doing? It's about time we had a chat, I think, isn't it? And a catch up to find out how you are and how your project is going. Bondi oil, all from you. And horrid over where Mel is. Dogs and I are soaked. I managed to get out last night in only a bit of spitting rain. Thankfully, which is just the new normal, isn't it? It's either just gently spitting or it's absolutely pouring down at the moment. Those are the two types of weather, it would appear, for the last few weeks. And for a few more weeks to come, I think these stormy conditions are, do you know, I had a phantom cat rubbing against my leg then. There's nothing there. I think these conditions are going to take us into February. And yes, one of the lovely things about this morning's guests are that we have Jeremy with us, who, from a Chinese medicine, Chinese lifestyle point of view, we'll be talking about the renewing influence, vibration of the spring. So it's all about renewals. Boots on the Ground Portugal can help you with your renewals. That's part of your AIMA renewals. That's part of the service now. We haven't spoken to Heather for a little while. She joins us this morning. I think she's on at 8:40 and Jeremy's on at 8:20. We'll soon find out. They'll be joining us on the screen. All about renewal of ourselves and nature. Believe it or not, spring is in the post, and AIMA renewals that Heather and team can help you with as well. Good to see you, John. How is it going with your project, your affordable housing project? We know you from the Find Your Home in Portugal show with Ben Austin. That was meant to take place last night, and there's a bit of a weird sound on my mixing desk. Does that sound okay to you? There was a really good reason to delay our show last night. So we'll be talking to Irish Neto, the managing partner of the agency, me, Ben, and Irish tonight, chatting with each other about real estate here in Portugal. More real estate talk now on that Monday evening show rather than on the morning show, where our focus is 50 plus life, loving life here in Portugal, despite the rain. Bon dia, going to work in the kayak. So you're in the UK, I'm guessing, this morning, Gary, and so very wet and rainy over there as well. Carl, regarding the cat alert, you might want to invest in a door to the studio. Yeah, I know. They're very useful, aren't they, these door things, the big bits of wood, and train the habit of closing it after you. You make life seem so simple, Matty. I mean, what are us humans supposed to do who like a bit of drama and distraction if you're going to be so logical like that? Yeah, you're right. I'm in the attic. There isn't actually a door to the attic. I am building one. But yes, you're absolutely right. It would be a good idea to close the door. But I'm in the attic and the cats can just make their way up into the attic space. I will be making a hatch in due course. But there are only so many hours in the day and so many things to do. Let's have a look at that shove Móvel Digital. Then this is number 4 of the Portugal Essentials, which is actually, I thought all the language and culture stuff, mainly the culture stuff from the Portuguese citizenship test, may be of great interest to people. It's of great interest to me, not so much necessarily other people, although we do have those 100 questions over at the Portugal Club. And we've shifted our attention from helping you pass the citizenship test, and that's there for you to enjoy. I think it's filed under Portugal A to Z, under Q for quiz. And immediately, things like NIFs, NISs, and SNSs are far more popular. It's those sort of hacks and information that people are looking for because they have a need, don't they, rather than a gentle desire to know more about Portugal. That can wait, but when you need something like a NIF, an SNS, or a NIS, you're going to look for information on YouTube or on the web. And we are beginning to provide that. And these are already much more popular than the Portuguese citizenship test. And the beauty of learning about Portuguese culture. But hey-ho, all about the public service here on Good Morning Portugal and learning more about life in Portugal. And the nitty-gritty here with the Portugal Essentials. Number 4 then, what is it? The Chave Móvel Digital. Incidentally, not that many Portuguese people have them when you talk to Portuguese friends, as I've done about this. Sorry, I can't tell you about that. Don't have one. Don't want one. But anyway, it is available as part of, I guess, the move from paper to digital, and for everybody to be a digital citizen, a digital ID, etc. This is part of that here in Portugal. Portugal's official digital authentication system, they call it, a secure mobile key linked to your phone. What if you don't want a phone all the time? It lets you, okay, let's keep off that for the time being. Although I will read your comments about that digital privacy at all, actually, after I've got through the information here. It lets you log into government portals. Who doesn't like to log in first thing in the morning? Like Segurança Social Direita, Portal das Finanças, and SNS 24, and ePortugal. Is that enough? Sign documents electronically. It's funny, isn't it? These things that are designed to make things simpler begin to sound so complicated. And access public services with a single credential, i.e. your phone number. I think that's 2 credentials if it's your phone and your PIN/code via SMS. So it's 2-factor identification to get into the bureaucracy, basically, isn't it? And why it's important, it's a game changer for expats and residents, speeds up online bureaucracy. That's the theory. Avoids in-person visits for many tasks, for example, checking your NIS status, booking SNS appointments, filing taxes, etc. Important things to the government, if not you, and is increasingly required or recommended for digital government interactions. That's somewhat chilling. Increasingly required or recommended. It's not compulsory yet. It's described as safe, it is free, and is thought to make life in Portugal more efficient. I have changed the AI research on this. It's thought to make life in Portugal more efficient. No more endless queues, in quotation marks, because I doubt that's over just yet. Best way to get this handled, then, if you want one, your CMD. For citizens and residents with a cartão de cidadão, activate yours online at autenticação.gov.pt or government.pt. Scan the QR code with your phone. Install autenticação.gov for iOS, Android use. Use CC Reader or Photo ID process. What is a CC Reader? For foreigners, non-citizens, expats with a residence permit, that'll be us then. Visit a Loja de Cidadão or Espaço Cidadão. You'll be visiting those places more often if you take the advice given out on the Portugal Essentials here. So you go in person, or you can book via ePortugal or walk in. Take your passport, residence permit, your NIF, your Portuguese mobile number, your proof of address. They set it up on site. Often 5 to 10 minutes is all it takes, and it's free. Add your NIF, NIS, UTEN number during the setup for full access. Now, I think it was Sarah Yerman who told us that's what she did and got the NIS in the bargain. Once activated, Digital Life in Portugal unlocks. Pair it with, and I think you're trioing it with the NIF, SNS, and NIS, because there's that holy trinity of numbers, acronyms here, for best results. Potentially, I've added as a caveat there. Tip, get a Portuguese mobile SIM first. It's tied to your phone number. You can't do anything along these lines without a Portuguese phone number. There you go. Portugal Essentials, hashtag PT Essentials, number 4, the Chave Móvel Digital. You're very welcome. CC Reader. Yes, it probably is one of those extra bits of kit that you never knew you needed or wanted. The the plug-in things. It's a reader, isn't it, of your cards? Not just credit cards, but any cards with a chip in them. So a chip and pin reader, I suppose, that plugs into your PC. There you go. Thank you for your advice on that, Matty. We've got Heather, Jeremy joining us a little bit later on in the show. Couple of memes to show you. Bon dia, Donut from Pickle Praggins. I love your name. Good morning. Good to see you. Bon dia from Sarah as well, aforementioned. And going well with the affordable housing project. Just busy on the remodeling side. Yeah, it's always the way, isn't it, John? You've got to keep paying the bills and doing the work. And a man of your skill and reputation is going to be in high demand, of course, as well. There's a modular and LSF. What's that then? LSF Expo in Leiria starting Thursday, helping introduce a new way of looking at housing. Are you connected with that then, John, or are you just going along? Is that a nice, happy coincidence there? Do keep us informed. Looking forward to talking to you one Monday evening soon then, John, of Valwood on the Find Your Home in Portugal show. I think this is so important, the affordable housing. Maybe we'll see you one morning as well. So do keep in touch and all the best with that. Have a great 2026, John. I don't think we've issued each other with a buono. We've not spoken yet this year. It is almost February, though. Maybe a bit late. Is there a Portuguese superstition that you shouldn't wish somebody a happy new year once you get into the summer? Maybe stop doing that now. Couple of memes then to chat about. Well done to Superboc. And we've got Red Cabbage. We've got marvelous old ladies here in Portugal, the Avo network. And okay. Okay, we'll see you later on, Mikhail, as well. That's good. Thank you very much for your message. Marvelous. And yes, let's have a look. What have I got here? It's so small I can't see it. Yeah, the two Bond candidates. We can interview them ourselves tomorrow. There they are, pictured skiing, a prerequisite of being a Bond, of course. Old school Portuguese flu shots, girding your loins for the winter. I think it's still a good idea to take your old school Portuguese flu shots. That, if I'm not mistaken, is red wine and a little queue of older ladies. I think that's fair to say they're probably 50 plus, queuing up for their Portuguese flu shots in a village in central Portugal. And on this theme of grandmas in isn't this grandmas in Portugal? Priorities in Portugal, it says here. Maybe she's sipping on her Portuguese flu shot there. Thanks, Bruce, for this. I haven't seen Bruce for a very long time. Portugal Living, what you need. Bruce Joffrey's group on Facebook. Priorities in Portugal. Isn't that a lovely scene there? We're in the kitchen with Grandma, sipping on it could be a coffee. It might be some red wine. It might be a Beral. And she's got a cat on her lap. And it just looks like such a homely, lovely place where you're going to get a bit of cake if you turn up. Come in, sit down, have a cup of coffee and a bit of cake. That is a lovely scene. Priorities in Portugal. Petting the cat, having a drink and keeping warm in your kitchen. Absolutely right. Red Cabbage then. Did we say this was Couve Rojo? Was it called in the shops? I don't know the name, actually, of Red Cabbage. Perhaps we could know. Now, this person, Ramin Nazibov, is posting some amazing images, and quite by coincidence, posting images on X. If you are looking at your screen at the moment, sorry, podcast listeners, because you're not going to see this, but if you look closely at a red cabbage, as Ramin describes here, not ramen, but Ramin, it looks like a road, a little path into an enchanted forest. I've never seen that before on a red cabbage. Isn't that beautiful? And that was spawned by the salad shot from yesterday here on Good Morning Portugal. Wasn't that beautiful? How you get all these little resonances in nature of the micro and the macro right there. The micro of your red cabbage giving you the visual of a little enchanted path into a purple forest there. And congratulations to Superboc. This announcement from the AICEP, not sure who they are, but they're a trade association who are giving congratulations to Superboc. Portugal winning the world's best gluten-free beer at the World Beer Awards 2025. If you are gluten intolerant but not beer intolerant, you might be interested in this. I had such a nice busy day yesterday, and I topped it off with a can. I still like drinking beer out of cans. The flavor of aluminium last thing at night. This is by the way, Superboc, not Sagres. Portugal adds another international distinction to its agri-food and beverage sector. That sounds so appetizing when you put it like that. Agri-food. Give me more agri-food. But anyway, congratulations to Portugal, another distinction in its agri-food and beverage sector with Superboc Sane Gluten. I don't think that is a sane gluten there. That's just like a normal Superboc to me. Recognized as country winner at the World Beer Awards 2025 from last year. The award highlights Portugal's brewing expertise and the growing international relevance of it. And then the link to show more. The relevance of its what, do you think? The growing international relevance of its, I don't know, non-conventional beers. Is there a lactose intolerant beer as well? Aren't they all? Perhaps I wonder there. Any more to say then? If Portugal had a smell, what would it be for you? Diesel, smoking. When I put this up on Facebook yesterday, somebody said corruption. Come on, we're thinking of nice smells. Pastel de natas, baking, bacalhau. You get used to that. It's quite an unusual smell when you first encounter it, but I find it very comforting more recently. So if Portugal had a smell, what would it be for you? And the Turkic states, I was watching Euronews, looking for a break from the intensity of other news channels. We'll raise a glass to news channels other than those that are constantly bombarding you with negativity, although that does narrow it down quite a lot, doesn't it? But I quite like the tone of Euronews. I've been watching a bit of that, trying to balance, with finding out what's going on in the world, obviously through the lenses and editorialization of others and the sensationalization. But it was interesting to see at Davos what looked like a fringe event around tourism. The spokespeople from Sri Lanka, from Mongolia, encouraging people to go to their countries. I thought maybe it'd be nice to get the Mongolian ambassador on the show, encouraging us to go for a holiday there. Barack, of course, will be talking about travel tomorrow. And a spokesman from the Turkic states rocked up as well to chat to what looked like a very staged press conference. But anyway, I learned something yesterday. Every day's a school day. Oh, talking of school days, I'll also be talking to Tom Caston from the Bright International School. A little bit more about him in just a moment. But yeah, staying with the Turkic states, did you know that the Turkic states, the OTS, the organization of those Turkic states, consists of five main member states, others may be included, that includes Turkey. I'd love to go to Turkey one day. Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. I think Turkmenistan, Hungary, and the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus are also part of that, but they're just observers as we speak. In the increasing factionalization and the moving around of runners and riders on the international scene, it's changing, folks, right in front of our very eyes at the moment. But there are the Turkic states, which I'd never heard of until yesterday, watching Euronews. Just briefly then, as we await the arrival of Jeremy Quantum of Quantum Qigong, we're looking to get a little 4-week Qigong course off the ground here in San Martino de Porto. If you live here and you'd like to take part in that, it's a men's shed initiative open to all genders, of course. I'll be talking to Tom after this show this morning for the Portugal resident big interview. School's changed, isn't it? There are people who bend under this world, and there are people who create this world. I don't remember hearing things like that when I was at school. Maybe they were. At Bright, we want to develop young leaders who will create a new world for themselves. That's quite the invitation, isn't it? We'll be talking more to Tom about this and his school in the Algarve around Lulé. I think they have some very new methods of education. We believe there are two priorities for a school: a wonderful journey and the right destination. At Bright, we're nurturing curious, fulfilled children with a vision who make their futures. Create your own reality. It is a privilege to help them navigate these journeys and a joy to be part of their development. I don't recall a teacher ever saying that about me. It's not about me, though. It's about the bright young minds who go to Bright International School. We guide our students there in finding their passions, help them build resilience, sit with them during the bad times, and let them run ahead with excitement in the good times. Marvelous. But it's also so important that bright pupils leave us ready for the next step, whatever it might be. Yes, at that moment means we truly understand them or understood them, worked collaboratively, explored possibilities together, made informed decisions, and set and achieved meaningful goals in a considered way. How lovely. Tom Caston, then principal of the Bright International School in the Algarve. I'll be chatting with him, and that interview will published tomorrow on the Portugal Resident channel. Heather's getting ready. She'll talk to us in a little while. I believe it's Jeremy first here on the Good Morning Portugal show. The theme is renewal. Let's just pop Tom off the screen for a moment. Give him a nice big round of applause, please, and welcome him to the screen. Olá Bom Dia, Jeremy.
Good morning.
How are you? Tudo bem?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. For a moment, I thought you were in a hospital. It looks a little bit like a hospital with a curtain around the bed.
That's my bedroom.
It's your bedroom. Well, whatever turns you on, Jeremy. You can play doctors and nurses in there anytime you like, it would appear.
Yes, let's not go down that road.
Let's not. You're here to talk about Qigong and not your other hobbies. Right. So how are you doing? We're talking about renewal this morning. I'm a renewals as part of the services that Heather and team offer at Boots on the Ground Portugal. And spring, tell me, spring is in the air, Jeremy.
It certainly doesn't seem like it today, and I like your watery background.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it certainly seems like we're still in the thick of it, doesn't it, as far as winter's concerned? But from from my perspective, it's really, really important to kind of start planning in advance. And so what tends to happen is that in the Chinese system, okay, just so for your viewers who don't know, I'm very sort of deep based in Chinese medicine, but also I study a lot about Chinese culture as well. And my exercise form is, well, the shortcut for my exercise form, we say Chinese yoga. So it gives you an idea of how it works. But in the Chinese system, they very, very much kind of work on the idea that each season has a kind of an influence on the body. And so it's interesting because it just brings to mind as well, one of the other things that I do is I tend to write up people's charts in the same way that I think your wife is familiar with as well. I do it from a Chinese
astrology. Right.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so I do Chinese astrology. And I was just reading something about it the other day, and they were saying it's very unscientific for people to say, oh, it can't possibly exist. You know, basically what has happened is nobody's ever bothered to look into it. Nobody ever bothers to scientifically study it, but they always say it's very unscientific, you know, for them to say, oh yeah, it's all mumbo jumbo. Because of course,
who are these people, Jeremy? Who are these people we're talking about? The ignoramus.
those people, the bad ones.
That lot. Yes, yes.
And essentially, why I say that is because we know so well that the moon has such a huge influence on our bodies, you know, especially women's menstrual cycles and things like that. And essentially in Chinese literature, there are 5 planets. That's as far as they could sort of manage as far as telescopes are concerned. I think we've now got it up to, we've got up to 7 and back to 6, or, you know, it's all very confusing.
Yes, true.
There were 5 that they really, really focus on, which is the 5 closest to us. And they say that each of those has an influence on us. And so they came up with a system that had 5 seasons rather than 4. And so normally speaking, the kind of you know, the 5 the 4 that we work with, you know, spring, summer, autumn, winter, summer often seems incredibly long to us, and they have an extra season at the end of summer. And so they see that last bit. We call it Indian summer sometimes, you know, and so they have a 5th area where they think that that's a kind of like a season on its own. So your summer can be very, very fiery and kind of bright, and then it ends up in this kind of smoldering, kind of moody bit at the end where it gets very sort of intense and you know, and harvest time. And so that's how they carve it up into 5 seasons and 5 planets. And what they say about the seasons is that as each one arrives, there's this kind of fight, if you like, between the last season and the one that's coming up.
Yeah,
and
makes
so
sense.
You know, when a tide arrives on the beach, sometimes you get these great big waves that sort of like crash up the beach, and then nothing happens for about another 20 or 30 or 50 waves, and then suddenly another one really comes. And it's the same with the seasons. You look out the window and you just think, there we go, it's springtime. I can see some daffodils. I can see them not over here, perhaps. I can see the little green shoots coming up. Definitely. Springtime's arrived. And then the next day you get snow, and you think, hang on a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So each season has its kind of a push where it tries to push in, and the old season kind of pushes back, as it were. And so we get this. That's interesting. Someone say so much in your summer, exactly. Yeah.
True.
So we get exactly. So we get these kind of we get these seasons arriving, and so it isn't springtime yet, but springtime is trying its hardest to get its way in there. And so in the same way, we have phases of our body that match the seasons, and so it's quite good for us to work on the basis of starting to build up our energy for springtime at this time of year. And then when springtime arrives, you're all ready for it. By the time springtime arrives, if you haven't done that, then you're kind of behind the game. And so from a Chinese medicine perspective, we start planning for springtime, although it hasn't got here yet.
And how are we going to do that? I mean, I do. The easy thing about this transition, I suppose, is we're really looking forward to it, aren't we? In the way that you have those summertime blues. I mean, there was a song about it even, wasn't there? The end of summer is a time of mourning, isn't it, for many people, especially kids going back to school and all of that. So that's not a very pleasant transition, and one we might dread and not prepare for very well. But this one, we're all up for it, aren't we? We like John is saying here, shuva, 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 each day for the past 2 weeks, and it appears to have a third week with a forecast of 100% each day. So more rain to come. And if anyone was thinking, are you into Chinese medicine? Or like in that song, are you a Christian boy? Man, I am tonight. I'm into TCM today, this morning, because you talked about spring and I'm up for it. How are we going to prepare for this oncoming spring? We want it so badly.
Well, I want to actually just go back a moment there and talk to you about when you sort of said about the autumn, the blues and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
It used to really, really affect me. And that was the most noticeable thing for me. And that's one of the reasons I started really taking care, because coming around about sort of, autumn time, I used to hit this phase where I would get cold after cold, and then I'd get flu, and then and I used to have, huge amounts of time off work because, typical man flu, especially at that stage. I was working in a job where I wanted huge amounts of time off work. COVID would have been the biggest blessing to me at that age. But yeah, so I really noticed that I had, and also from a mood perspective as well. And so I used to, when I came across the diagnosis of seasonally affected disorder, SAD as it was called.
Yes.
I really, really bought into that. I really felt it. I thought, yeah, that's me all over. Whenever I hit that kind of season, hitting, autumn, going into winter, I used to sort of, power down and, want to hibernate. And so I started working against that. I started, trying to preempt that kind of situation in me and think, right, okay, so I now know that this is going to happen next autumn. What can I do about it? And so in that case, I started working a lot with the lung exercises in Chinese medicine. We'll get on to why. And then working with kidney exercises to make lung for autumn and kidney for winter much stronger. And then suddenly those things stopped happening to me. It was really bizarre. I actually got through a whole year and thought, I don't seem to have had flu this year. What's going on? And probably more exhausted at Christmas time because I hadn't had any time off. But my
you really didn't like this job, did you?
I didn't. Towards the end of it, God, I couldn't give it up quick enough.
Which industry are we talking about?
That was me being a foreign exchange broker working in the city of London, would you believe?
Oh, happy times. Right,
and what a terrible, that was me working for the dark side.
Until yeah.
That was it until I managed to kind of free myself, if you like. Okay, so that gives a little bit of a hint about what I was talking about. So as with this idea of 5 seasons, the body has 5 major organs. I mean, this idea of it's a kind of, let's say, a lens through which the Chinese look at everything in their lives. And so you break it down into, originally, people will be familiar with yin and yang. And that was just split things into black and white. But then eventually people started to look at that, they started using the idea of yin and yang, I think about 3,500 years before Christ. And then this system we're talking about starts to come in about 1,200 years before Christ. So the system is 3,500 years old, that sort of era. And they're already starting to look at ways to classify things. How do we classify what's going on around us? How do we classify the changes in harvest, the changes in weather, and so they start to put it into these boxes. And then they start to look at how we can classify changes in our body, how we can affect things. And around about the same, probably about 2,000 years ago, they start to use very basic kind of acupuncture techniques as well to change things. But 3,500 years ago, we start to look at exercises that might help us to change things. And the idea is that there's lots of kind of folk stories about how these things work, but they say that the tribes that came down from Russia moving into the Yangtze Delta, they lived in this kind of area where it was exceptionally not unlike Portugal, to be honest. Lots of sort of mist and dampness and things like that, and that people who were doing their kind of tribal dancing seemed to stay fit and healthy much longer than people who had very, very kind of sedentary lives. And so they suggest that maybe people formalized exercises from the dances, and that the people who did the formalized exercises stayed more healthy than the people who were couch potatoes. And so whether this is true or not, I don't know, but that's the best guess people have at why these kind of exercises evolved. And
how fantastic! How fantastic!
Yeah, the observation of nature is the reason we have the exercises.
Yes, yeah, and I saw a Mongolian spokesman on Euronews encouraging people to go for holidays in Mongolia.
You saw what?
I saw a Mongolian spokesman on Euronews encouraging people to go on holiday in Mongolia. Now, I've never seen that. My idea of going on holidays from the old days is to see travel brochures, and a lot of them were like white buildings and the Costa Blanca, but not Mongolia necessarily, not a yurt holiday where you might be tuning in. I mean, it's quite the coincidence, isn't it? That is, of course, where Russia meets China, isn't it? And the sort of people you're talking about who are doing their tribal dances from which Qigong may have originated. How amazing! Yeah. And I love this. That is science, isn't it? That observation of what seems to work, and then formularizing it in some way. And to this day, we have a Qigong as a result.
That's right. How does any science system work? It works on research. And these people have been researching it for 3,500 years. Our science is 150 years old. We might have some slightly better tools, but essentially, I'm not sure that we do have better tools. If the truth be told, I think that the body is the greatest scientific instrument we've ever been given. And so and we're unable to replicate. We can replicate tiny bits of the body and tiny bits of our mind using sort of mechanical methods and so forth. But actually, as a whole, as a sensory system, there's nothing that beats the body. And I think that this is it. Is that actually the truth about it is that in order for them to have discovered an awful lot of things about how do you work out how where an acupuncture channel lies in the body and what it affects. I think the only way you can do that is by very, very deep introversion. People who are prepared to spend 8 hours a day going inside, meditating on what might be happening inside their bodies. I think that you can really tune your mind to be much more aware of what's going on than we do these days. And I think that, so I think the truth.
Yes, it would appear at the other end of the spectrum, isn't it? If, on the one hand, somebody who spends most of their time in the inner terrain figuring out how it might work. We're the opposite of that, generally speaking, in our culture, aren't we? It's almost completely externalized, apart from the occasional pain in the body, which draws our attention back within, over which we stick some sort of plaster or pharmaceutical cover-up. Like, no, I want to stay externalized. Give me some pills. Yeah.
Well, that is indeed the malaise of the 21st century, is that we don't
Yeah,
spend enough
right.
time inside. And that is why
Yes.
I promote Qigong as an idea, because that's
Yeah.
bringing yourself back to your body, bringing yourself back inside, spending some time in. So we call Qigong moving meditation. And that's why it's so good for
Mm.
most people, because most people don't want to sit and meditate. They
Yep.
want to be doing something. And so but the nice thing about it is that when you get used to doing your exercises, then your body just kicks in and it does them kind of automatically on its own, and your mind just goes very, very quiet behind it, and so you do actually get this kind of inner stillness from it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Jeremy, we've only got a couple of minutes left to talk
Sure.
about some tactics, perhaps what we might do
Okay.
to bring on the inner spring, if not the outer spring,
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
possibility, of course, we're looking at creating a 4-week introductory course in the evenings here in San Martino de Porto. Just want to float that as an idea for anyone who might be watching that. Watching in that area. So Jeremy and I are working on that. That'll be a sort of men's shed initiative, but all genders are welcome. A few tips then, if you don't mind. Gary's talking about D3 with vitamin K, presumably a game changer for me in the winter. You're not the only one suffering with that particular. Yeah, and it's like whatever works, isn't it? I don't think you're saying, we should just be observing the ways of 3,000 years ago. It's whatever works that we can draw from. The Egyptian farming 10-day week, that sounds very punishing, predates that by being another 5,000 years before. Yeah, what can we learn from all of these influences, and the Bible as well this morning? How's this for anticipating the coming sun and springtime? Sorrow may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. That's Psalm 30 there. What can you add to that, Jeremy, by way of preparation?
Then I suddenly thought of a Bible verse myself, and a joke that a friend used to make, who used to say, it's the Bible says, it came to pass, it's not here to stay.
Yeah,
And I
isn't
think,
that worth knowing? That's worth
yeah,
knowing. Oh,
yeah.
yes. Yeah, thank you, whoever
So
that was.
yeah. So what would I say about? So we're coming into springtime, and the associated organ with spring is liver. Okay,
Mhm.
so how do you look after your liver? And it's interesting that in January, so many people go into dry January. I mean, I think that's a really, really powerful thing to do, is to give yourself that sort of break on things that affect your liver. And so the one thing that's good for your liver, let's just say as a whole, is exercise. And it's that time of year where we've been literally hibernating very often. I mean, there have been a couple of days in the past few days where I haven't even left my flat, but I'm lucky because I can actually sort of do exercises in my flat. I know, I always do my exercises anyway, but I also supplement that with doing a lot of walking. And there have been a couple of days where I've just been thinking to myself, I'm not going outside today. My liver
Right.
can hold off for a couple of days with that. But so what can you do to stimulate your liver? There are things that in liver that we can do with diet. And so not eating heavy fried foods is one of the things that livers don't particularly like. Wow, look at your beautiful cat. Yeah, so livers,
It's a
having to
beast.
deal with heavy fried food, having to deal with too much alcohol, things like that. And so we have to sort of eat a slightly lighter diet as we move into springtime. And then we have to do more exercise to get the body moving, is a great thing as well. And so, of course, I would say Qigong, but actually the best thing for the body is walking, so getting out there and doing sort of plenty of, getting in your, I've come up with 7,500 steps as being the perfect. I've looked at all the kind of, the research work.
Yeah.
And I think 7,500 steps a day is a very, very good target to go for, which is about an
Okay.
hour's walking if you can manage it. And yeah, I mean, those would be my top things. Eat a bit more lightly,
Very
stop
good.
drinking alcohol for a bit, do some exercise. The other thing I would say, I'm going to do some shameless advertising here. And
Please
I would
do.
say that my website, which is www.quantum Qigong, and when you spell Qigong, it's QIGONG, quantumqigong.co.uk. But if you Google Quantum Qigong, you'll find me anyway. If you have a look on there, I've got what I call my warm-up set. And it's also on my YouTube. So if you just go onto YouTube and you type in @Jeremy Colledge into the search bar, you get my website. And on there, you get what's called my warm-up set. And they're 3 incredibly simple exercises. And it takes about, you can do it in 10 minutes if you like. Hey, look at that, quantumqigong.co.uk. Very nice, thank you.
You are.
Yeah, so if you go onto that, there are three simple qigong exercises which anybody can do, and you just do them to your body's ability. And when you do them, then you suddenly find that it gives you a bit of a boost of your energy, it gets you going. And as you said, Carl, let's try and put together a course. And when you were saying let's try and put together this 4-week course, introductory to qigong, I was just thinking actually there'd be nothing to stop me having my tablet in there. So if people can't make it to San Martino de Porto, they can just watch online as well.
Marvelous, excellent. Let's make that bi-located or multi-located. Thanks, Jeremy. Always good to chat with you. Matty's adding internal organs benefit a lot from breathing exercises as the movement of the different breathing techniques massages them. This is interesting, isn't it? From modern medicine, our friends who are surgeons are having to tackle the fact, hang on in there, Jeremy, are having to tackle the fact that growth hormones are reducing bone density and making longer screws for surgery. Isn't that amazing? How we work around in that way. Problems adding to problems there. In my opinion, our body is a great machine in development for thousands of years and to this day still evolving and changing every day. Yeah, and we can be involved in that, can't we, as well? Carl, how sweet. For a non-cat person, you do do you know what? These guys are growing on me. These 3 kittens that live with us now, I think they are changing me. And I've lived with a lot of cats, and I think it's just these 3 that are really working hard on me. This guy is a beast, though. I'm afraid to move him now.
I think it's lovely that people who describe themselves as not cat people, that's the people that cats go for. That's their thing. Cats
always, isn't it? Same with dogs. Same with dogs. If you don't like dogs and you put your hands behind your back, they're going to come and lick your hands that you've put behind your back so they can't lick your hands. It's just
I think there's something particularly evil about cats. They just love coming for people who don't like them.
I think so. I would agree with that analysis, although we might have upset a few cat people with
No, not at all. I mean, all cat people secretly know that's what cats do. And I think I'm a very cat person. I love watching it. People saying, I'm not a cat person at all. And then the cat will immediately jump on them.
Yes, here we go. You're seeing it right in front of you. Look, he's pushing himself into my face as we speak. Talking about me. Cheers, Jeremy. We better make way for Heather, who's joining us now. So cheers, mate. All the best. And happy spring to you. Let's bring it on by talking about it. Ciao, ciao, mate. See you.
Go well.
And we'll keep that applause going and bring Heather onto the screen. Olá, bom dia, querida. Tudo bem?
Olá, bom dia. Bem. Tu?
Cat and dog person, I think. Heather Binder of Boots on the
And
Ground.
parrot, my parrot.
And parrot person. How's your parrot?
Yes, she's good. She's sleeping. So
okay, let's keep our voices
she's in the other room.
Yep.
If anyone's looking for her, don't look for her here. She's
okay. All right. She's having a kip in the other room. Fantastic. What's going on then? Renewal is the theme. We're just talking to Jeremy there about renewal in this bodily and health sense. Spring is on the way, believe it or not. How are you getting on with this rain, Heather?
There we go. I have color. Rain. Not so great. The problem is my internet sometimes. And then, the house and the water and those issues. So, that's fun stuff. But I have a great handyman, so that's good news. And
with that, okay.
There's always something to do with water in houses, it seems like. So
yes, there's so much water around at the moment. Hang on in there, everybody. We're going to get through this. I think there are 2 storms overlapping now. It's not just storm of the week, it's double storms of the week. Yes, extending that analogy, the storminess of migration to Portugal. How's it all going? We haven't spoken for a while. AIMA have been boasting about their profits. And there does seem to be some sense of movement. They are getting that big backlog. 500,000 people sorted out. What's your experience of that at the moment?
Yeah, they are catching up, and they are flowing people through, and they are getting cards out and processing. We've had a lot of people that had AIMA appointments automatically scheduled quite a ways out. And we've requested that they be moved up, and we've had some success with that.
Have you?
So that's been good. Yeah. But you have to get your documents prepared first before you request, because oftentimes when you request, they're giving you very quick appointments, which is great if you're ready for your renewal. paperwork or your AIMA paperwork. But if you're not, then that can be a bit of a mad rush there.
Yeah.
So we also have a change for this year, which is with our new visa contracts, we're including the first renewal. So we're helping not only with your consulate or VFS appointment, your AIMA appointment in Portugal, but then also your first renewal is included in that. And then if you are already here, we've started, one of my colleagues here has started focusing on renewal folks, and we're starting to help just focus on that, since there's been a lot of changes and it isn't as simple as it used to be to actually get through your renewals.
Heather, it sounds like you're grasping the nettle. You know, it's no secret, is it? There are a lot of people coming into this space to help people with visas. And what
I know
noticed-
there's a lot of companies popping up from nowhere. So yeah, read Trustpilot reviews. That's what I have to say.
Well, but also that's when I say you're grasping the nettle, you're tackling the part, I think, of this process that a lot of those companies don't. They want to do the easy bit, don't they? Which is getting your application together, which is a fairly straighthtforward matter. You know, knowing what to get.
No, it's not at all.
Well, may I say
that you think so?
May I say relatively though?
It's not. It's
it's not an easy process, and then there's the even more difficult part.
It's not near as straightforward as it was 4.5 years ago when I hired someone, and it is much. It's much more nuanced today.
Yeah, and you're helping people with that, and I noticed a lot of the companies are happy to do that bit. But then they
that's our focus. Our focus is visa and stepping people all the way through. So driver's license, a health number, just all the way through everything in one package, all transparent pricing on our website.
Yeah.
I
think that's the beauty of working with boots on the ground Portugal, is that a lot of people ghost when it gets to the difficult bits, or the even more difficult bits of renewal. It's like, no, we don't do that bit. You're on your own. People aren't on their own with you is the takeaway here, right? You're going to be there in these even more difficult bits of the process.
You know what? Yeah, I'm very blessed to have a great partner. It was my Portuguese gal, Sarah, that works with me. And anyone that's worked with us knows how awesome Sarah is. And between the two of us, we really tackle all the things. And I'm really thankful for her, because with her local expertise, when it comes to once people are actually here, there's a lot of details that are always changing. And that's really, it's really key to keeping up on that, is just constantly having people move through that system. Yep. I have a new website too. Isn't it pretty?
Beautiful. Very colorful. Yeah. Look at all these things that you're helping with. And just to reiterate, so the whole 9 yards, I think you've used that phrase here, and it's more than 9 yards. It feels like 9,000 yards, this process.
It does. We really partner with our clients and work together with them to get them all the way through. And I think that's really the big difference, is that it's really literally a holding hand. I've had clients crying on the phone with me before, not because of us, but because of the the strain, the stress, the whole process of relocating and going through crazy things like moving parrots and pugs and everything else. So we can relate. I've done all of the above and more. And so it just helps to talk to someone that's been through that, and it can be a good emotional support, as well as actually getting things done.
There you go. Your website looks great. I'm just sharing your site into a local group here. Glad to know you're in Colledge. And that's a bonus as well, isn't it? Actually being able to meet up with you. I don't know if you offer that sort of service, but it's nice to know you have a local presence.
Well, we do all our work remote. So when it comes to that, but oftentimes clients come to town either before they've moved or after, and want to get together, and that's fun. So yeah, absolutely. We're happy to get together and get some coffee or tea or something fun like that.
Good.
And sometimes it is when people are scouting that they want to do that to get to know the people that they're going to be working with. So certainly we offer that availability. Sure.
Very good. Some comments and questions coming in. Have you ever?
Sure.
I mean, you could summarize your process as parents, parrots and pugs, couldn't you? Because you've been through all of that
Parents,
yourself.
parrots, and pugs. I've definitely been
Yes,
through
the
parents.
three P's. Have you got the M of marriage or P for partnership? Have you helped anyone get married here?
Well, I got married here, but
Did you?
I sort of cheated.
Oh,
And my husband and I, we did it over Zoom out of Utah because Portugal makes it complicated, of course.
yep.
And after looking into that, I was like, you know what? The best thing to do, in my opinion, if you're from the US, is anybody that's US citizen can get married anywhere in the world over Zoom.
Is
And
that
so
right?
that's what we did. And that was great. But I am just working with my attorney to register our marriage so that it is on record here in Portugal, as well as I'm moving through some processes with finalizing my dad's situation, estate,
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yes.
He passed away recently. And just trying to get the paperwork I need to do the life insurance claim. And that I'm learning. Once again, I am my own guinea pig. And it's amazing. In fact, this morning I have to meet with the lawyer and the notary to finalize that. All I'm trying to do is get a cause of death. But believe it or not, that's a huge, huge process.
Well, oh, you have our love and sympathy with that. So maybe
Thank
Matty
you.
might take that approach, is to get married in his own native country and then have that formularized or formalized here in Portugal after.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you come from. But I looked into it here, and you can absolutely get married here. But you definitely need, the apostille birth certificates and, the whole nine, and then translated, and just, it's a lot of hoops to jump through, which depends how important that is to you.
Well,
If I could have gotten married in the park, I would have done that or something. But it
yes,
was
and
just going to be like town hall,
yes, and with all the sort of political drum banging, Christian country, family country, people should get married, and then you try and you can't, which doesn't seem to make any sense to me. Let's have a look at John's question here. Heather, sorry to hide you for the moment. Let me just swap you around here. That'll be
Sure.
more polite. Heather, what is your opinion on the interpretation of how many months you are permitted to be out of the country within the residency period? We have 3-year residency, so now 6 months or 8 months is daunting. Only 6 months or 8 months non-continuous over 36 months looks quite difficult, he says. What do you make of that?
Well, it's not interpretation. I don't do interpretation. That would be law. So there's one distinction. It's very clear. You can be out of Portugal a total of 8 months over your either 2-year and or 3-year cards, the temporary residency cards, no more than 6 months at a time. So correct. Right. You can do 6 months continuous, come back for a day, use your NIF, all that good stuff. And then you can be gone a total of 2 more months. That is over either the first 2-year period, and then once you renew, your next card is for 3 years, and that's that same period of time that you can be gone, 8 months total.
Okay. Thank you for that. And you slipped in a little tactic or hack there. Make a purchase, use your NIF number, which shows you're in the country.
Yeah, boarding passes, do
All of that.
Do the things that would prove that if you're going to pop back out immediately. Yeah, certainly. And I think it's fairly generous, really. So I guess it depends on where you're going and that.
But no more than half a year out at a time. There are mitigating circumstances for illness and so on, but that's quite a process as well, presumably.
Well, it just depends on the situation. And at the end of the day, don't ask for permission, beg for forgiveness, and document. And we have an immigration attorneys that you can talk to and, have available to you if you have an issue. Like my husband lost his residency card and we have to go to the US shortly. And so that's one of those things where it's like, I've talked to our immigration attorney we have, and if I need him on the phone because we have an issue getting back in,
Yes.
then I'll have him on the phone.
Very
But
good.
we have proof, a police report of the lost residency card. We
Yeah.
have proof that we've asked AIMA to replace his card. So, and he has his previous residency card. So
And
I
you've done everything you
believe,
possibly can. Yeah.
and I have my residency card, so I'm coming home. But hopefully my husband can join me as
You
well.
can bring him with you. All right. Another question for you. Do you help with info or contacts about how to bring some personal items into Portugal? My mother passed a year ago and I need to bring some items she willed to me. So maybe we can chat about this if you are doing the same. So that's a reason to get in touch, I think, isn't it? You can probably help with that.
Sure. Well, yeah, I can definitely give some advice. So certainly that's not a problem. Yeah, no, thankfully I brought my parents with me and I brought a 40-foot shipping container when I did that. So
Wow.
I brought everything. So there was no additional bringing in. But of course, every time you go out of the country, we pack our suitcase full of stuff, right?
Yep. Our son and new daughter-in-law just navigated this one, getting married in Portugal. He said it will probably be different for everyone. It was important. It depends. That answer that you hear from time to time. It was important to be able to do the whole thing
Yes.
in Portuguese. So there you go. I think that's it for our questions this morning. Oh, John making the comment, it seems a bit punitive. The longer you are here, the less you're able to come and go. In that 3-year stretch, of course, yeah, less generous the longer you stay. Nope. Not going to get married in Germany or the Netherlands. It has to be here in Portugal. Well, we'll come along. We need to go to our first Gumper wedding, basically. It will only be an administrative... Oh, stop being so miserable. We need a party as well, Matty. So hoping it can be done in the local freguesia or, if not, in the camera.
I think it's the camera that... I know it's not the freguesia. It's not your
must
local
be the
freguesia.
registry, right? Presumably the
It's
IRN.
a registry, yeah. So it's not
they
really
must deal with
camera, but
yeah.
it's exactly.
We haven't had a community wedding yet, so that's interesting. Morning to you, Peda and Margarita as well. Bon dia to you, Margarita. A final message from you, Heather. We got to go. I'll just put your website onto the screen again and give everybody the address. What's your how should we go into 2026 with you and Boots on the Ground Portugal?
Well, new website, and I'm back to my natural curly hair. So that's
you look fabulous this morning, if I may say so.
Thank you. I'm working on getting that curl back, so
you are. The rain's good for that, isn't it, on the Silver Coast?
No, the rain, humidity, not good for that.
Okay, right. Sorry, I thought it made people's hair curly. That's what I was hoping.
Yes, but we do offer free chat if anyone wants to give us a holler. Go to our website and you can book that on the top right. It says book free discovery call. That would be with me. Feel free to schedule a chat if we can be of help.
Lovely to see you for the first time in 2026. Have a great new year. And yes, helping lots of people move to Portugal. Boots on the ground. PT, of course, .com. Cheers, Heather. Lots of love to the menagerie there. Take care. Bye for now. And we'll see you all tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Cheers to International Port Day.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts.